Hey, it's Terry Gorry, and this is the Irish Law and Small Business Podcast. For a long time, I have made the occasional video and the occasional comment and the occasional blog post about a phenomenon that I've noticed in the last 10, 12 years or so. And that is when a person faces or has experienced some real setback in their life, they have a choice. They have a choice about accepting it, no matter how bad it is, and trying to move on and pick themselves up, or feeling sorry for themselves, feeling victimized, harboring a grievance, harboring a grudge, and searching around essentially for somebody to blame for the difficulty that they have experienced. The most obvious example that I can see is, and it happened to me when the property market crashed in 2008 or thereabouts, 2006, 7 or 8 or whatever year it was. That wiped me out financially because I had invested everything that I'd made in my life up to that point, over about 20 years of relative success in business, in property. And the property market crashed. And you'll quickly discover, if you're ever in the unfortunate position of putting all your eggs into one basket, that when the tide goes out in a particular market, there's really no fighting it. It's virtually impossible. And it's just tough, but there's not a whole pile you can do about it. So when the market goes against you, it goes against you, and it may well leave you stranded, and that's it. Sean Quinn and Dr. Anthony A.J. O'Reilly were two of the wealthiest, if not the most wealthy men in Ireland around about that time or up to that time. And yet, both of them, as a consequence of the property crash, both of them declared bankruptcy. But to get back to the personal situation where I lost everything at the time, I had a choice. I could blame economists, I could blame the banks, I could blame the government, I could blame Fianna Fáil, I could blame Fine Gael, I could blame anybody that I chose. But it wasn't going to change anything. And I was facing a choice of looking for somebody to blame or looking to see what exactly I was going to do then. And what I did then was I changed careers completely. I ended up going back to college to study law at the wrong side of 40 years of age. I eventually then relatively quickly qualified as a solicitor. I set up my own practice. I'm doing pretty well, and things have worked out pretty well over the succeeding 10 or 12 years, 14 years now. Probably the crash, the biggest part of the crash or how it affected me was probably 2008. This is 2022, 14 years ago. But I had a choice then to pick myself up and have a go at something else, or the same thing again, or go back to retail, or, as I say, I could feel sorry for myself and blame other individuals, other institutions, other people, feel sorry for myself and do nothing. And a lot of people took that route. Unfortunately and regrettably, a lot of people took that route and spent the succeeding years looking for somebody to blame and finding plenty of people to blame. Quite frankly, nobody really cares, because people are so busy with getting on with their own life and getting on with their own day-to-day difficulties that you dragging around these grievances, these grudges, like a clanking chain for the next 10, 15 years, going into the courts and so on, and trying to fight debt, massive debt to the bank on some technical ground. None of those technical grounds worked. None of those fights really worked. The bottom line is, the persons who engaged in trying to fight the banks with some sort of a defence, generally of a technical nature, didn't succeed. But the people who picked themselves up and went on and did something else, accepted that they had made a catastrophic mistake or found themselves in a catastrophic mess which they couldn't fix, but they decided to go on and do something else. Those people made a different decision. And recently I watched a video there, and there's an old guy, Charlie Munger. He's one of the most successful investors of all time. He's 92 years of age or thereabouts. He's Warren Buffett's sidekick. He's shareholder along with Warren Buffett in Berkshire Hathaway. And I saw a brief clip of him on YouTube. And he says he's no time for victims, but he has a lot of time for survivors. And it clicked with me then that the blog posts that I've written and the videos that I've made about people making this choice or having a choice and making what I view as the wrong choice and having the wrong attitude. Charlie Munger succinctly summed it up in saying that you can be a victim or you can be a survivor, and you have a choice. So with the benefit of hindsight and with the benefit of Charlie Munger's 92 years of wisdom, and with the benefit of the short little YouTube clip I happened to see accidentally earlier this week, I recognise that I'm a survivor, not a victim, even though what happened at the time was catastrophic and very, very difficult to deal with. But it propelled me in a different direction. It forced my back to the wall. It forced me actually into that garage there behind me to hit the law books, and ending up embarking on a career that has led me to set up my own solicitor's practice, and I've done pretty well since then. It's certainly not a decision that I've regretted. But I had a choice then. I had a choice to be a victim and spend the next 12, 14 years blaming people and dragging my grievances around like clanking chains, or I could be a survivor, and I chose to be a survivor. And I think there's a lot to be learned there from, never mind what I have to say, but look at what Charlie Munger has to say and what he said succinctly. You have a choice when things go really badly wrong, when there's a catastrophic incident, some seminal, some really disruptive incident in your life. You can choose to be a victim or you can choose to be a survivor. Hope you find this video useful and thought-provoking perhaps. If you're interested in videos about Irish law, Irish business, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you find this interesting or useful or of any benefit whatsoever, I'd appreciate if you gave it the thumbs up down below. Thanks a lot.